You wake up tired, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, not the kind that comes from a long day. A deeper tired, a heavy tired that lives in your body before the day even begins. Your eyes open, but something inside you stays distant. Your limbs feel slow, your breath feels shallow, and before you've done anything at all, you already feel behind. You try to get moving anyway. You tell yourself you should feel more motivated. You tell yourself that other people manage. You tell yourself you're wasting time. And slowly, almost without noticing, a word starts to form in your mind. Lazy. But you are not lazy. You are exhausted. This exhaustion is not a character flaw. It is not a lack of discipline. It is not a moral failure. This kind of tiredness is what happens when effort continues without recovery, when responsibility accumulates without release, when your nervous system stays in a state of alert for too long without feeling safe enough to rest. This kind of tiredness doesn't disappear after a good night's sleep. It sits deeper than muscles. It lives in your attention, in your emotions, in your ability to care. And because it's invisible, it's easy to blame yourself for it. You may still be functioning. You may still be productive. You may still be showing up in ways others rely on. And that's what makes it so confusing. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. From the inside, everything feels heavy. You push yourself forward anyway. You override the signals. You keep going because stopping feels dangerous, because slowing down feels irresponsible, because rest feels like something you haven't earned yet. But your body's not asking for permission. It is asking for safety. At some point, your system does something intelligent. It pulls the brakes. It reduces energy. It creates fog. It creates resistance, not to work against you, but to protect you. And when that protection is misunderstood, it gets labeled as laziness, when in reality, it is survival. Many people who feel this way are not careless or unmotivated. They are the ones who have been reliable for a long time, the ones who carried responsibility early, the ones who learned to stay composed, the ones who learned to push through discomfort instead of listening to it. There are moments when you carry more than you ever say out loud. Responsibilities, unspoken expectations, emotional weight, the pressure to stay composed, the pressure to be capable, the pressure to be the one who holds things together. And you carry it quietly, without asking to be seen, without wanting attention, without wanting to burden anyone. You tell yourself it's easier this way. You tell yourself others have it worse. You tell yourself you can handle it, and most days you do. Until one day handling it starts to cost more than you realize. Something subtle begins to happen when exhaustion becomes normal. You stop noticing it. You stop questioning it. You stop asking yourself how you're really doing. You keep moving because stopping would mean feeling everything at once. This is not a weakness. This is conditioning, a system that has learned that survival comes before feeling, that function matters more than the rest, that slowing down equals failure. We live in a world that quietly rewards endurance, the ones who don't complain, who don't slow down, who keep producing, responding, adapting. Over time, you learn something dangerous, that your value is tied to how much you can carry without breaking. So the load doesn't lighten. It settles, it accumulates, until rest feels unfamiliar, silence feels uncomfortable, and doing nothing triggers guilt instead of relief. Sometimes the hardest part is not the work itself. It's the absence of permission to stop. You don't feel allowed to rest. You don't feel allowed to need. You don't feel allowed to say this is too much. Because responsibilities don't pause. Expectations don't disappear. Life keeps asking, and so you keep answering even when your system is depleted. There are nights when you finally sit alone and your body feels heavy in a way you can't explain. Not tired in the usual sense, tired deeper than that. A tiredness that comes from always being alert, always monitoring, always managing, always holding yourself together. In those moments, you may wonder when it became normal to feel this way. when exhaustion became the baseline instead of the exception. This kind of exhaustion doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from being too available, too responsible, too present for everyone else, while slowly becoming absent from yourself. You learn to ignore the signals, the tightness in your chest, the shallow breathing, the tension that never fully leaves your shoulders. You normalize it, you adapt to it, and adaptation becomes invisible. You start believing this is just how life feels now. You are not lazy, you are exhausted, and exhaustion deserves kindness, not punishment. There is another truth that rarely gets spoken. Exhaustion doesn't always come from action. Sometimes it comes from suppression, from holding emotions that never found space, from staying polite when something hurts, from staying functional when something inside you was quietly falling apart. This kind of tiredness doesn't show on the outside, but it drains everything on the inside. You may have learned to minimize your needs, to tell yourself it's not that bad, to delay rest until things calm down, to wait until life gives you permission to slow down. But permission rarely comes. And so you keep waiting while your body keeps absorbing the cost. Over time, exhaustion becomes background noise, so constant that you stop questioning it, so familiar that you assume it's permanent. In Buddhist understanding, suffering deepens not because pain exists, but because awareness disappears. When exhaustion is ignored long enough, it turns into numbness. And numbness can look like laziness, like indifference, like a lack of motivation. But underneath it, there is usually a nervous system that has been stretched beyond its limits. This is why forcing yourself forward often makes things worse. You're asking for energy from a place that is already empty. You're demanding movement from a system that is asking for safety. And when that doesn't work, the inner voice becomes harsher. You should be doing more. Others manage. Why can't you? And slowly compassion is replaced with pressure. The Buddha spoke about right effort, not effort that pushes blindly, but effort guided by wisdom, effort that knows when to act and when to soften. Rest is not the opposite of effort. Rest is what makes effort sustainable. Without rest, effort becomes strain, and strain, carried long enough, becomes exhaustion. If you feel stuck right now, try asking a different question. Not what is wrong with me, but what has my system been protecting me from? Slowing down is often the body preventing collapse. Numbness is often the mind preventing overwhelm. These are not failures. They are intelligent responses to prolonged pressure. Here is something different you can try. It doesn't ask you to breathe a certain way. It doesn't ask you to go inward. It simply asks you to reduce the demand. When you feel that familiar heaviness, don't ask yourself how to fix it. Ask yourself what can be made smaller. One task, one expectation, one conversation, one decision that doesn't need to happen right now. This kind of fatigue often comes from treating everything as urgent, from carrying tomorrow on top of today, from asking a depleted system to keep performing at full capacity. When you make life smaller, even briefly, something shifts. The pressure doesn't disappear, but it loosens. The system registers that it doesn't have to do everything at once, and that alone can be enough to bring relief. You don't recover by pushing through what's already drained you. You recover by lowering the load, by allowing one moment where nothing needs to be proven, one moment where effort is not required. That moment is not a weakness, it's a regulation. And regulation is what allows energy to return. You don't need to fix your entire life today. You don't need to regain all your energy at once. You don't need to become who you were before you got tired. Healing doesn't mean returning to the old pace. Sometimes it means creating a new one, a kinder one, a slower one that leaves room for being human. Being strong does not mean being closed. It does not mean being silent. It does not mean carrying everything forever. True strength is flexibility, the ability to bend without breaking, the willingness to feel without collapsing. the courage to admit quietly that you are human. If today all you can do is rest, then rest without punishment. If all you can do is pause, then pause with awareness. That is not wasted time. That is recovery. That is wisdom in action. You are not lazy, you are exhausted, and you are allowed to recover.